here, James. Did you make
What?
it? Did you make it?
Wait, just feeling. Oh, yep, I'm here. I'm still here.
Woo!
I
What
mean,
a ride.
I've been here the whole time. You keep leaving, but I just stay in the recording studio
Oh,
between episodes.
that's taking like method acting to method podcasting. You next level, James.
Yeah, well, I just got a little hammock in here. Just go mocking. Just play my Nintendo Switch. That's about all I need.
Very
Fresh
nice.
water. Got the chamber pot. It's all good.
Oh, a chamber pot. Wow.
Yeah, well, I gotta go somewhere, don't I?
Yeah. Does Samuel Tarley come in and clean it up for you?
No, I only get no. Actually, that I just. I mean, I haven't changed it. Are you supposed to change them?
I think at some point, yeah.
I mean, I've been drinking and eating very little, so
Sure, probably filling up very slowly.
yeah. It's also like huge.
Well, James, you know what else is huge?
Oh, um,
My excitement
uh,
level.
okay. Ooh, that was
We are
yeah,
just about 2 weeks away from draft weekend.
man. It feels like even less.
It does, doesn't it? But it's not. It's about 2 weeks.
A little less though, when you think about it. Just a little bit. Like it's just a little less. It's pretty much 2 weeks. Like it's a little less.
You feel like
That's
it's a
all I'm
little
saying.
less?
Yeah, and I feel it, and like factually, that is the case.
Oh, I'm off a week, aren't I?
I might be.
Yeah, man, I'm off a week.
See, I'm never off a week because I just stay in the booth.
You just stay right in there.
Yep,
Well, oh man, my excitement just got even more huge. It's
huge.
growing
Yeah.
more and more turgid every second that we talk,
Oh, I
James.
love I love that word. It's beautiful. Just makes my ears happy.
James, I do have to come clean. At this point in time, I have an unfair advantage over everybody in the league, and it doesn't feel right. Can I confess my
Yeah,
sins to you?
I mean, I just assumed you were messing with the scores each week because I think it's I think it's interesting how the first year where you aren't commissioner is the first year you didn't make the championship.
Wow, that is fuel for a conspiracy fire there, isn't it?
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what the internet does with it.
Sure. Yeah,
Wait,
just
are you okay? Are you saying that you we're doing something besides just adjusting the scores every week?
you know, I wasn't doing anything in the past, but I have recently gone through a service of kinds that has provided me with a unfair advantage for the upcoming draft.
Did you go to a psychic in Hollywood? One of those guys?
Not a psychic, no, but a learning and development class through my work provided a course on the 7 habits of highly effective people, and now I am a highly effective person.
Oh no.
And I
Oh
just,
no. I was trying to bribe them to not go to your workplace.
yeah, they showed up,
Damn it.
and I just feel guilty. I have not been able to sleep knowing that I hold this advantage over everybody. So I'm going to do the brave thing and share the 7 habits with you all right now for free.
Okay. You know what? I bet I can guess every single one of them.
You think so?
Well, maybe. I can always try, can
All
I?
right. Well,
All
let's,
right. Well,
yeah.
it's first of all process of elimination. It's not sleeping. Clearly not a habit. That because you said you weren't sleeping, so puzzle
Mm,
solved there.
yeah.
A habit highly effective person has. I'm gonna guess punctuality.
Punctuality, not
Is
quite.
that?
Habit one
Oh,
is be proactive.
Oh, is that like the stuff for your face? You don't get acne?
Yeah, when you get acne, you gotta be proactive. You gotta be the chemical gel and ooze that you put on your face to take care of acne. Some highly effective practices of habit one is pause before you respond, use proactive language,
What?
and focus on your circle of influence. That's habit
Uh,
one.
That's wait, pausing before you respond is being proactive.
Yeah,
That seems like the opposite.
it's taking time to think and not reacting based on emotion, but taking time to acknowledge what someone else is saying and just being responsible for how you handle and react to a certain situation.
I don't know, man. That sounds like a lot of BS to me. That doesn't sound like that would help you at all.
All right, well, you're lost there, James. What's habit number two, do you think?
Well, habit number two is definitely eat a balanced breakfast. Got him.
Almost. It's that there's always two ways to skin a cat.
Now, are we sure that Lance Keane didn't write these? Are you sure it wasn't Lance Keane in a mask giving you this presentation?
You can never be too sure that it isn't Lance Keane in a mask.
Ah. All right, number three. Number three has got to be uh, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Boom, boom. Habit.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Yep.
How'd you get that one? That was crazy. All right, habit four.
Number four. Number four. Number four has got to be sometimes you got to play to win, and sometimes you have to win to play.
Hmm. It's actually never eat soggy waffles.
Never eat soggy waffles.
Yeah. Bad for your health. They can make you
Bad,
vom.
bad for your mouth because it's a
Bad
bad,
for your
bad
mouth.
mouth
Yeah.
feel.
Terrible mouth feel.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, that's why I like waffles over pancakes because they're a bit crispier.
All right,
You
habit
can
five.
avoid this.
What do you think habit five is, James?
Habit five. Um, adapt, react, readapt, apt.
It's actually make adjustments, go get it, energize.
Oh shoot! I think I'm stuck on the Michael Scott train of thought. So.
Hmm. No, this one was actually promoted by Ted Mosby.
Architect.
Gives you motivation to, when that window is open, when that window of
Mm-hmm.
opportunity is open, you got to make adjustments, go get it, energize.
Mm-hmm. So that's like relating it to fantasy football. That's like when the player's available on the waiver wire.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go for them. You gotta be aggressive with the fab, right?
Got to be aggressive with that fab.
Mm-hmm.
All right, James, habit six.
Habit six, you say, well, um, never get into a fiddling duel with the devil.
That is good advice, and I bet that would be a good habit of highly effective people, but is not the official habit number six.
Dang it. Thought I got that one.
Habit number six is actually bacitracin, bandage, more bacitracin, bigger bandage, even more bacitracin, sock, more bacitracin, cleat, more bacitracin, garbage bag.
Oh, I should have known that one.
You should have known that one.
Uh,
That's a classic.
so that's like you can never have too much running back depth, right? That's what that means?
That's exactly what that means.
Okay. All right.
And habit 7, I'm actually going to keep to myself to keep a little bit of
No.
a leg up on you all.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna guess it correctly, and then you won't have it. Um, Number 7 has got to be wear a personalized jacket with your last name on the back at all times.
That's great
100%.
advice. You get some free Grand Slam tickets that way.
Woohoo! All right. See, can't lose.
You can't lose.
Oh my gosh, no! Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. That's number 7. I'm sorry. That's my guess.
Damn
That's
it.
it.
Damn it.
Clear eyes, full hearts. Blue eyes, white dragon.
My
Can't
dragon
lose.
can't lose. You guessed it. I was trying to keep that one to myself. You're just too
Trust in
clever.
the heart. Oh man, I'm thinking of trust in the heart of the car.
No, it's not that one. It's actually you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them,
Know when to walk away. Know when to
and know when to run over to league news. All right.
Me running.
That was the sound of you running. Well, James, as I found out earlier in this episode, draft weekend is actually only 1 weekend away, or 1 week away. So
Well, it's a little more than that.
depends on when this episode gets posted.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, by the time this is posted, it should be 1 week or less.
Or
I mean,
less.
some people might be listening to this and it already happened. Wow, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh. You're saying like years down the road because
Yeah.
this is going to be like archived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, people are just gonna keep listening to them. Like once they finish them, they'll start back at the beginning and then listen to them again.
Yeah. And I don't want to get ahead because we were kind of saving this for a spoiler, but we did put little Easter eggs in each
Spoilers.
episode where if you put them together, you can find the location of a secret treasure.
Mm-hmm.
So go back and listen to each episode very closely, maybe in reverse. Hint.
Is source now.
There's a hint right there. That one was more obvious.
A clue.
But speaking of draft weekend, it is coming up. So sent out a meal plan here recently, and I think we're going to be good on that. So if you do have any questions or comments about that, please reach out to us ahead of time. Otherwise, we'll plan on going with what we sent out there.
Now, Andrew, about the sandwiches, could I make toast, or does it need to be a sandwich?
You know what, James? For you, I will allow toast.
Okay. Could I just do like buttered toast and then take the 2 toast pieces and just like make a sandwich out of them?
You're saying
like
just toasted bread and butter in the middle.
Yeah.
You could. I don't really know why you would.
I mean, it's just more efficient to eat it that way instead of one slice at a time.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, James.
Okay, well, see, if that's all right, could I just like not toast the bread, but still put the butter on it and then put them together, make a sandwich and just eat that? Or would that be weird?
I think that is kind of where we get to the limit of it being weird.
Really? I mean, like, it's basically the same.
Hold on, we might have to call Gordon Ramsay. Beep boop boop pop pop.
I mean, it's
boop,
like,
pop, pop,
yeah,
beep,
he doesn't like raw food.
He says it's okay, actually.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Gordon. I'm so glad he approves.
Well,
you
James,
know, a lot of people give Guy Fieri like they make fun of him because like he's an eccentric character. But like, I mean, he's just a guy that, you know, he wears funny shirts and he likes, you know, eccentric food and like, you know, just like good feel good food. And like he's just living life and, you know, making entertaining shows. And like I think people need to give him a break.
Yeah, in the Rosemount soccer program, we had the three Ds, which was dedication, desire, and discipline. But I
Hmm.
think the more important three Ds is diners, drive-ins, and dives.
There you go.
Well, James, are there any activities that we have planned for this weekend that we need good meals to help us fuel up for?
Oh well, thank goodness we're having pizza on Thursday night. We're having that Thursday night.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
We're doing okay, good. Because we're gonna need that za to fuel our golf game on Friday morning. Golf has officially been scheduled on one of the nearby courses by David Book. Thanks, David, for doing that. The course apparently said it shouldn't be too busy, so we can do a foursome and a fivesome.
And then
And
we'll
then
go
we can
play
also
golf.
do that. Yeah, and then we'll go play golf. Yep, you beat me to it. That okay. All right, enough of that. Yeah, so golf is scheduled. Get hyped. Do we know the teams? We haven't decided the teams, right?
I don't think we've decided the teams. I think we can probably wait to do that until draft weekend.
All right, cool.
One thing that we're going to be doing different this year, or I guess for the first time this year, is James and I are putting together a document of all the rules of the league, so they're in one nice, concise place. Um, Everybody knows where to go to look at them. Anytime we raise the question in the future of what rule changes and league changes you want to have, you know where to go to this set document. So we're just about wrapped up with that, just putting on some final touches. So going to send that out. We want everybody's approval on that before the season begins. If there are any changes that people want to make, definitely bring it up to us before the draft. So we'll get that out pretty shortly here after this episode gets posted.
This is a legally binding document, so be sure to actually read it. Unlike the terms of service, it's different. It's actually important.
Excellent point.
And so with the weekend coming up next week, just keep an eye on the group chat for any updates. We can get in on 4 p.m. on Thursday, so plan your traveling plans accordingly.
I am
Yeah,
excited for the draft.
picture it didn't happen.
You gotta have patience.
Angie, are you like do you know what you're gonna do this year for that? Or are you gonna wait until weekend of and moment of
I
to
think
see
it
what?
I think it's usually wait until inspiration hits.
Okay. I kind of like that. Keeps it more pure.
Yeah. Well, James, do we have anything else for league news?
I think that's about it.
Well, let's head on over to our other news section, NFL news.
Escarabia.
Do you plan these or do you just like
Nope. Nope. That one I started it. I was like, "Ooh, I got to make it different than before." Oh,
it's beautiful?
yeah. No, actually I do have just a script of a bunch of different
Yeah.
improvised scats.
They're just
It's
like a
they're
bunch
very
of
tough
like
to spell.
S
Yeah.
and S's and K's
Oh,
and
yep. It's
R's.
it's it's half S's and K's.
Wow. That's crazy. NFL news, it looks like there is going to be not much of a college football season, if any at all, in the fall, which might open up Saturdays for the NFL to move into, even potentially Fridays. So we'll have to see what the NFL does with that, if they're going to reschedule any games. I don't really think that affects us too much, other than we're just going to have to be more aware. Everyone's going to have to be more aware of their rosters and making sure that they have people set on time. But other than that, I don't think it's really going to affect us too much.
And as of now, I think it's only the Pac-12 and Big Ten that have officially canceled their fall seasons. I know some of the other Power Five conferences may follow suit, but I guess we'll see.
Is there anything on that ticker though? That's what everyone
No.
wants to know.
Nope. Brett Favre would love to see Aaron Rodgers on the Bears. Okay, New York Post. I don't think that's news, but thanks, I guess.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
I've always
Would love
wanted
to
to
see
know,
Aaron
like,
Rodgers on the Bears.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm always curious what's on Brett's mind and like what his
yeah,
opinions are on things.
he's crazy. He just says the craziest things.
You know who else says the craziest things?
My uncle.
Maybe, but also me when I'm telling you this week's crazy stat.
Ah, no! Oh man, I gotta get my squat. All right, here we go. Okay, we're in it.
So James, 6 years our league has been in existence. Over the course of those 6 years, there has been only one tight end to finish in the top 10 every season. This player's average positional rank.
Was it Lexi Pantera from that?
You're thinking of the wrong tight end, James.
Oh, different one. Dang
Yeah,
it.
fantasy football. Sometimes
Shoot.
blocks, sometimes catches. Let's limit the guesses to the NFL player universe.
Okay, sorry. What tight end am I trying to call out here?
The only one who has finished in the top 10 all 6 seasons, whose average positional rank is 3.33 over that span.
I mean, it's got to be Travis Kelce, right?
It sure is. It's Travis
Oh,
Kelce.
yes. Got it in one.
And while that, isn't too surprising, one of the things that kind of shocked me with that is earlier in an earlier episode, we talked about Le'Veon Bell being, the highest drafted person that we've had over the last 6 years, but he is now, projected late second round, early third round. I'm not really sure where he's at, but certainly not in the first round anymore like he has been. But Travis Kelce is still the number one tight end. Like he's not showing any signs of slowing down. He's just been completely dominant over the last 6 years and probably a few more to come.
Yeah. Well, he's a hell of an athlete.
Well, I think that's going to wrap up this week's crazy stat.
All right.
Now,
were we not able to get Shark Irwin for this one?
I sent out a line for him, but
well, I hope not a fishing line. That's bad.
Well, yeah. How else am I going to catch fish, shark, Steve
I don't
Irwin?
know, like sonar or something. Maybe
Nah.
something less dangerous.
I'll see.
Okay.
I left a message though, so we'll see if we can get him back for next week.
Okay.
So James, I think we did a little bit of dissection today, didn't we?
That is correct, Andrew. We were able to interview Luke Conway, who was this year's most recent Sacco loser, or winner, I guess winner, but ultimately loser. Yes, he did. He did get last place.
For us, it was the winner. For him, it was the loser.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, we are going to transition to our Luke interview in a special segment we like to call Anatomy of a Sacco.
James, I'm just overcome with emotion. Knowing who our guest is here today, we are joined by the one and only Luke Conway. Luke, first question, how's Bailey doing?
She's still large. Bailey is still walking on all fours now again. She's not a tripod. Yeah, still large. She's right behind me, so if you hear a loud moan or something like that, or a whine of some sort, that'll most likely be her. But she's not bad otherwise. Does not like
If we
to work
hear
from home.
if we hear any loud lapping noises, it's probably Bailey.
If you hear any drinking from a water dish, surprisingly, it's not me.
Well, second question, and certainly, well, depending on who you are, less important question. How are you doing?
Oh, thanks. Um, I'm doing not too bad. We have the fun work from home setup, which is a fun way to say that it's harder to separate your work from your free time. So other than that, it's not bad. Living in Uptown, as the other boyos have said before, Matt Zabel abandoned us, so that's cool. That's why he's not invited to the draft this year. As punishment, I think. And yeah, we're ready to. Well, oh no, the college Big Ten just said they're not playing, so just kidding. I'm actually depressed again, but nothing new there. So.
And where are you working these days, Luke?
Yeah, so in case anybody needs an unlicensed auditor, I'm an auditor with RSM up in Minneapolis, usually just doing some auditing of like the commercial industry, industrial products, and can't do your taxes. Lord knows I have no idea how those work. I barely know how to do mine. I won't say that on recording, but yeah, so. Avoid that question.
Wait, so you can't do my taxes for me?
I can do them. I won't do them right.
Okay. Well.
Not on purpose. Just I can't guarantee.
Okay. Well, we'll talk. We'll talk after the recording.
Okay. That's under the table talking, as they say. You crawl down on all fours. You put a blanket over the table, and you talk your secrets.
It's my favorite way to communicate.
It's either that or I like to just get really close to somebody's ear and then just not say anything. And usually they get the message that I need help.
Okay. So Luke, before we dive into it, anything you want to share with the group at large?
Yep. So I did somewhat present this to Andrew and James before this call, but in terms of my punishment for the calendar, because my calendar is supposed to be January to December 2021, I had an idea where, obviously I didn't take pictures during the beginning of the year because I'm still in fantasy football depression, and those pictures won't look great whatsoever. So I figured, if I can at least get half of my calendar pictures prepared and present them at the draft, then I can get the latter half, so I can get some winter pics in the snow, and with a turkey or something, for those later months or those earlier months where there is snow, and it'd be more fitting. So that's my offer of I present at least half at the draft, and then that gives me an extension to at least 12/31/2020 to get the remaining pictures so that the calendar will be entirely prepared. Well, everybody loves snow pics.
I think I can speak for everyone when I say I'm very excited to see those pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. I'm curious to see what they'll look like.
Yeah.
There's a theme. It hasn't begun, but there's a theme.
Is it the time of year? Is that the theme?
It's actually shades of skin.
Shades of skin.
And by that I mean like 50 Shades of Gray. I'm just going to paint myself different colors of gray.
Well, Luke, we hate to do it to you, but we really, really do hate to do it to you.
I've heard this.
But it is a fantasy football podcast, And we're going to have to talk about your most recent 2019 Sacco season. We're going to go through it all. We're going to relive it, try and learn as a group what went wrong, and how we can all avoid this terrible fate. So last year you started off pretty good, which came after your draft.
I appreciate I'm taking this hit for everybody, you know.
Yeah, you're really doing us all a service.
Such a team player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so great, except when I'm so bad. But all right, now that I try to throw off everybody, I'm ready.
All right. You did throw him off.
I'll do it again.
So I remember kind of like during at the draft cabin, I remember at some point you're like, oh yeah, I better like look up my rankings or something. And it was like the day of our draft and like
Yes.
pretty close to before it, maybe like minutes before potentially. Is that accurate, and is that how long you normally wait to prepare before a typical draft?
So I'd say waiting is not the right word. It's just more of, oh, that's when I remember I should look up my rankings.
Okay. Is that usually when you remember?
Yeah, minutes before the draft, you know, that whole weekend that we're there and what we're anticipating for a whole fall season. I think that's usually a good time to look up players and see what's happening around the league. You know, there's stuff on Twitter, but you know, it's always in the heat of the moment where you're like, all right, this, you know, it's like procrastinating. You do your best work right at the last minute. Everybody knows that.
Do you usually do any preparation before then, or is it usually like weekend of, and that's it?
Usually a weekend up. It's, you know, I'll stay up to date with what's happening with teams, like, you know, player changes and stuff like that. But you know, mock drafts are like, but you know, mock drafts, people choose random players all the time, and you never know how mock drafts or real drafts will ever end up. So I'm like, oh, what's the point there? And you know, drafting is one of the more stressful parts for me, anyways. Not that I'll do anything to prepare for them. So figure, let's just go in there guns a-blazing.
All right.
Now, have you ever tried speaking with animals as a draft strategy?
I have, and I think, you know, the beginning of last season, I talked with Duchess, the line that we had at the draft cabin.
Mm-hmm.
For those that were not at the draft cabin, you'll realize that you won't know what we're talking about. But I assure you, it was a pretty important talk. It's kind of like the Simba talking to Mufasa when Mufasa's in the heavens, but this was a physical statue of a cat, and we really bonded. And I was very close to taking Duchess home with us, but I figured that would probably come out of the deposit on the Airbnb, and I didn't want to get caught. So it's fair to say that Speak with Animals rolled very low on it.
So during the actual draft, once you did your copious amounts of research the day of,
Hours.
kind of like cramming before a test, just having it fresh in your mind.
Those do so well.
I remember that you drafted on the turn, so 12
Yep.
and 13, and you did pass on Davante Adams twice. And I think I specifically questioned you. It's like, oh, hey, you're a Packers fan. Why not draft Davante Adams there? And I remember you said that you had like kind of a bad feeling about the Packers that year, which is kind of interesting because the Packers went 13-3 and made the NFC Championship game. But on the other hand, Davante Adams did get hurt with turf toe, and he was only the wide receiver 24 on the year.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of one of those. It's hard to mix business with pleasure all the time. I knew the Packers were having. I thought there was going to be a little more strife in the system, just in terms of overall culture with coach changes and you know, just availability of. I didn't think the Packers were going to have as good of a season last year, so I was a little hesitant on putting my stake in that. You know, got overhyped on the Cleveland Browns, just like Matt Zabel did, and look where that got one of us at least. Actually, I guess both of us long term, but Uh, yeah, so that's why I went with Odell Beckham on the 12th, and then thought I'd switch it up, go with the running back on the turn with James Conner, and you know, which that kind of at least worked out. Pittsburgh doesn't have as big of a like passing game anymore. I feel like, especially with Roethlisberger's eating cheeseburgers on the sideline, and their other quarterbacks are getting helmets swung at their own helmets swung at their heads. So it's just a mess over there in terms of pass game. So that's why I figured run game got a chance there, and yeah, so you know avoid getting too much business in my pleasure, por favor.
So of all of your draft picks, who do you think was your best pick? You got George Kittle, you got Deshaun Watson, DK Metcalf, DJ Chark.
Chark. Oh man. Chark, what a treat he was early on, wasn't he? I think that was definitely one of my most favorited, underrated picks, I guess, just because
I think he was your last pick.
He was. Just yelling Chark
yeah.
in general is just freaking absurd. And he drops points, I guess. But otherwise, I'd say definitely one of my top ones was George Kittle, just because the guy's just a freaking unit half the time, and I don't know. It's kind of one of those. Sometimes I just happen to get like a good tight end, and it just happens to work out for me to save me from having a couple bad wide receivers, or a bad wide receiver, a couple bad running backs, or something like that.
Sure.
So like, year before I had Zach Ertz, and year before Kyle Rudolph, so he's at least top middle of the road, I'd say. And yeah, so I feel like I've kind of lucked out with some of my tight end picks, at least historically, but it's the small things that help me not to win the league, so it really means a lot to me.
Is there one person that you think is like your biggest regret drafting, like your biggest miss?
Biggest regret.
The person you curse the most, saying, "Why did I draft him?"
Well, I feel like I have this bad habit of always my first pick being bad. So this year was Odell Beckham, who is just kind of back to average wide receiver, because he also had to split time with Jarvis Landry, which, incredibly unfortunate. Thought one would free up the other a little more, but year before, Leonard Fournette, who got injured. Year before, David Johnson, who got injured in the second week of the year, and then rode my bench until he decided that week 14, 15 that he decided, all right, I don't think I'll play. And, yeah, so, and then kind of before that, it was kind of hit or miss in terms of my picks. So, yeah, it's definitely I think the Odell one definitely burns the most, I think, out of my picks. I love James White, but I don't know if I can pick him up next year just without Brady there to mix up the pass game and how many running backs they have. So I love James White, but I don't know if he's one that I can carry forward with. Thank you, Andrew, also for James White. That was a great trade you made me 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that one. I thought he was going to fizzle out. I thought I was trying to sell him when he was high, and he did not die down, and he certainly helped you out. So let's do a little recap of your season here, Luke. You started off with 2 wins and continued with pretty good success through week 9, where you beat James to give yourself your 6th win. With a record of 6-3, you were averaging 105.1 points a game, looking like a real contender to be bounced by Zach in the playoffs. And then you faced him, a man who has only spoken of in hushed tones, a man who lurks in the darkness, like a shark or Aaron Burr, not standing still, but lying in wait, ready to strike at any moment. The myth, the legend, the one and only Clay Tucker.
It's really a heartbreaker. I think, ever since 2 years ago, he helped me with a homework assignment for the human body. If you know what I'm talking about. That was, I had to submit that night during the draft weekend. I think I've just been in a life debt to him. And it's kind of one of those that he paid me in his blood, and now I have to pay him in wins every single year for the rest of my life, apparently. So maybe this year I'll learn more about the human body, and maybe that'll give me the power to actually beat him for once. Because it'd be nice to beat the boogeyman at one point.
Yeah, Clay is definitely a scary person. You don't want to get on the wrong side of Clay.
He's intimidating when he yells.
Did you think that part of your struggling after facing Clay might have been the fact that he scored 111.1, which is 4 ones, and it looks like a bunch of tiny spears, and that maybe that scared you?
I gotta say, I am scared of spears, especially the sharp ones.
A healthy fear.
A healthy spear keeps the Luke away from the playoffs. That's the saying that my parents have been saying to me ever since I was young. And there's only one time growing up, or a couple of times, where you get in the winners bracket for playoffs and such like that. And every time I try to be brave of Spears, I always think Britney Spears. And sometimes it just gets toxic. It's just.
That's so true.
Sometimes, man.
And from there, it's
for sure. You can't say it any more eloquently than that.
Momo Jumbo Gumbo 1111.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just to add to the conversation about how that Wumbo Mumbo Jumbo affected your team.
Gumbo Jumbo.
Gumbo Jumbo Wumbo Fumbo.
Moama.
R.I.P.
Jumbo.
See, Luke tried to set it to M for Mini, but Clay set it to W for Wumbo. And that was it.
Well, Clay did, in fact, come in and mess this up a little bit, because through your first 9 weeks, you were averaging 105.1 points per game, and you had 95.3 points against. Then after the Clayponing, you averaged 85.9 points a game, and your opponent scored 108.3 on average against you. So it did, in fact, come in there and mess up the Juju Smith-Schuster of your team there.
Yeah, it was definitely a turning point that kind of, just started that disappointment of, my God, great, here we go again. But, you have to try to hang on to some form of hope at that point, and it's always just a terrible time when the hope just falls. It's time to make this the most depressed podcast we have. We're going to get deep. But yeah, so going from there right into the playoffs, and James and I had our contest of 107.5 to 107.3. But yeah, it was the Seattle game against the Rams, and just waiting on DK Metcalf to at least get,
Oh, yeah.
the extra
Now I remember.
points he was projected to get, and he just didn't get it, So we lose by 0.2 points. It's probably the worst Monday night of my life.
That was – I remember watching that game very closely too, and, jumping up and down and, getting upset whenever DK caught a pass or was even targeted. I was like, no, stop it. Bad. Come on, Russell.
Literally, just run X amount of yards with a ball, and that's all you have to do. And no, just have to make me just the worst. And then from then on, lose to Jackson. We already covered that. Lose to Clay. Covered that. It's really great hearing all the other coaches or team owners talking about how great it is to not lose in the playoffs. And someday I just hope I can get there. Or lose in the loser bracket.
Between your first loss in the playoff to James, where you lost by that 0.2 points, or your loss to your roommate Jackson, who put up his highest score all season against you, which one of those stung more, in your opinion?
Just really had no chance. I'd say, I mean, the Jackson one was definitely a shock. Highest score he's ever had, just randomly blows me out of the water. You know, I feel like usually in the last couple of games, my teams are never as strong as I want them to be. But especially that one, it's like for how Jackson's team was doing was just a shock and just absolutely destroyed me. But I'd definitely say, I'd probably say the one against James hurt more because I was really anticipating that one being a lot. You know, that's just the beginning of pushing, like jumping off the diving board into the fiery flames of losership. So
Yeah.
the Sacco. So it's just, I think that James one was definitely really the stinger for me because after that, lose by point two, it's really hard to come back and be positive about anything at all.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty draining.
I went to bed sad. I woke up sad. Sadder than usual, but sad nonetheless.
Never been happy since.
It's true. I go on roller coasters before they closed, and I can never seem to smile. All the pictures that I get on the roller coasters, they're all me crying.
It's so sad.
That is very sad. Sure, you ready for this? Because we finally come to the 2019 Sacco Bowl, or as some have been calling it, the Apocalypse.
Who calls it that?
Okay, Claymageddon.
I mean, I like these names, but who's calling it this? Who's
The clay the earth stood still.
Oh, that's a good one. Actually, I like that one.
Anyways,
Clay should really
back,
be taking these for a team name.
you really should be. So what was your mindset going into this game? Did you do like a bunch of extra work looking for waiver wire guys, or spend extra time setting your lineup?
Did a little more insight in terms of my lineup. Considering a lot more of the trade-offs, I guess, of offensive players against certain defenses. Granted, I do that mostly during the season, but obviously a little more here. And it's really painful too when my projected score is 110 for my lineup, and Clay's projected score is 90, and we pretty much just flip roles. He ends with 103.7, I end with 91.3. It's kind of just one of those, you have high hopes and then nothing happens. Like, DK Metcalf just doesn't do anything. Thanks for the 0 points, DK. But
Well, Luke, in the end, Clay did finish the job, and he gave you your second Sacco. Clay, also to mention quick, is now 9-2 against you all time, so he is a little bit of your kryptonite. But with your second year getting last place, you have now tied Cy for the lead. So question for you is, who do you think will be the first to 3? Do you think it will be you? Will it be Cy, or will it be someone else completely?
well, let's see. Based on historical finishes here, I'd probably, let's see, because 2019 was bad, and or 2016, I think. No,
I think it was 17.
You're right, that was David Johnson. Yeah, that was an unfortunate. I didn't know we were going to be stapling that team name across everything else, so I apologize. But you have to keep writing David Johnson raped my mom after my first pick went wrong in week 2 and just ruined my bench for 13 weeks.
Yeah.
Because it was originally Ezekiel Elliott, so. But that's the one on the record book, so that's a bad habit of mine of changing team names.
The only name you really need to be careful about is the one that goes on the trophy, because you will have to take that into a trophy place if you win, and then tell them to carve this on this trophy.
Can you please place on this trophy, David Johnson raped my mom? They're like, sure. No. I'm like,
no.
Oh, come on.
Please leave.
No, this wasn't a religious establishment. But what was the question?
Oh,
Yeah, last.
Who
Who's
will
going to
be
get
the
last
first?
place? Who's going to be the third last place first? I don't know. I feel like
Sean and Jake have one apiece.
yeah, but Sean's being sneaky good. Jake's being he did better this year, I guess for sure. Obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I could see. Well, I think I'm definitely going to pivot away from Frost Tots, Nebraska-oriented team names. There might be some coincidental failure in just a combination of those two names. As much as I like my team picture, so I think it could be strongly driven by a strong team name. So I think if I get a strong team name, it won't be me that gets the third last. In which case, I don't know. Maybe within a year or two, I could see it potentially being Cy, but at the same time, it's all dependent about that team name because that's really what drives success. Is your players have to get behind a team, an organization that they support, and apparently
Mm-hmm.
Frost Tots, they're pretty pissed about these laptop batteries, and they were prepared to get. They came into the season hot, thinking they're going to go to college, and it's just lithium. So.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break to hear from this week's sponsor. And Andrew, can you tell us about this week's sponsor?
I would love to tell you about this week's sponsor, but you better have a glass of milk ready because we're sponsored by Frank's Red Hot. Hot sauce for all of your dinner, lunch, and even breakfast needs. Frank's Red Hot. Luke, do you like Frank's Red Hot?
Bob, can't say I've ever tried it. Something about the name just instills a bad time in my mind, both as I'm, putting it into my body and as it's leaving my body. There's only a few things that I can imagine doing that to my body all at once, and that's certainly one of them. The other ones would probably be, unchewed hot dogs. That's a wild one.
Unchewed hot dogs?
Just like Joey Chestnut swallowing them down?
Pretty much, just right down the gullet. And then, when they come out, you're like, wow, this looks bad.
It looks like the same as when it went in.
Pretty much, just add some flavor on that. And, just imagine Frank's Red Hot sauce on that. Oh, God, I'm going to definitely need a bathroom break and some Advil, some Tums, maybe some NyQuil so I can just sleep off the pain.
Well, Luke, you know what always cures my ailments? Some would you rather questions from our own James Terhar.
Yeah!
How many you got today, James?
Oh, I got it. It's two. It's just two.
That's more than one.
It is.
Oh my God.
The results are in two. It's more than one. All right, Luke Daniel Conway. That is your real name.
It's not. I lied.
Oh, damn it. Well, whoever you are, would you rather have on your fantasy team Patrick Mahomes, but he has to close his eyes whenever he starts his throwing motion, or Lamar Jackson, but you don't get any points from his rushing?
Oh, sure. So that would include his yardage even from rushing, wouldn't it?
Yardage and touchdowns. Now he can still do it. So he can
you can get closer for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But you don't get credit for it.
Yep, you don't get credit for the points.
Well, this is going to be a hard stat line to compare because we're comparing someone's physical passing only stats to, okay, maybe Closes his eyes from the snap. Oh man. See,
Not from the snap, just when he starts his throwing motion.
Oh, throwing motion. Sorry.
Yeah. So like he could be watching a receiver and be like, I'm gonna throw to that guy. But then he has to close his eyes and then do his throwing thing and then throw it where
Okay.
he's going.
Well, I think in this instance, I'd probably take Patrick P. Doggy McHome dogs, or Patrick Mahomes for the less cultured folk. Just because you start your throwing motion, you have an idea where the ball is going. You're especially at that level. It's not like you finally see somebody open, like halfway through your throwing motion, then you have to readjust. Usually, you're doing that full motion in sync. And Lamar Jackson, I guess I don't have his throwing stats in front of me, but I know he has a couple of good receivers on his side that would be really good for points, but at the same time, I'm like, not getting those running points. That's like at least 20 of Zach's points throughout this last year that helped him get to the championship. So like every single game. So I don't know. So Patrick,
Going with Mahomes.
Patty McDog face Holmes.
Blindfolded Mahomes. All right.
What are you guys saying?
Smeed.
Yeah, this was I thought this was obvious at the start, but I didn't realize that. Well, let me back up. Lamar Jackson is known for his running abilities. He was so dominant in the rush game that I completely forgot he had the most passing touchdowns of all quarterbacks last year.
Really?
Dang.
But I think I'm still going to go with Patrick Mahomes. I think I'm following the money. He's just an otherworldly talent. He doesn't look at his receivers half the time he throws the ball anyways. He's doing these no-look sidearm passes. He's just way too talented. I think I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes. Even with losing Lamar's rushing, I think Patrick is still the best way to go with his eyes closed. How about you, Jimbo?
I think Lamar would still be good even if you took away his rushing points, just because, like you said, he still throws for a lot of yards and touchdowns. And I don't know exactly, like Patrick Mahomes, he's known for doing his behind the back, stuff, like no looking.
Well,
I don't know how much worse he would be if he had to close his eyes before he threw every single time. But usually when you throw, I'm not a QB, but I feel like you kind of know where you're gonna put it once you start your motion, and it's like you don't really pick up new info. Like you see where he's going, you're like, I'm gonna throw a bit ahead of him or whatever, and then you just kind of close your eyes and chuck it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Mahomes. I have faith. He's a magician.
Also, as a fun fact, I guess too, with it, Mahomes in 2018, he had 50 touchdown passes, and still two rushing touchdowns. Whereas Lamar Jackson, he has his 7 rushing touchdowns. Those don't count. He has 1,206 rushing yards in 2019. That won't count. And that's just an insane amount of points already that you're losing as a part of it. So, like we said, Patrick Mahomes knows where knows where he is throwing, and he has plenty of yards. I think given he has those 2 games back from being injured, he could get a couple more touchdowns on top of it, and just having a more lively, just more opportunities. I think he'd do pretty well.
Plus, he can still rush, and then he doesn't have to close his eyes. Just rush it all the time.
And then he'll buy other sports teams and do commercials and get paid.
All right, sounds good. All right, on to question number 2.
Oh my God, I forgot we were even on the first.
It was more than just one.
Time goes fast when you're rathering these questions and answers.
Luke, would you rather recreate all of Jake's calendar poses exactly for your own calendar, or do another stand-up open mic for your punishment?
So I I'd still like to say, if I had a fiance to take some of those pictures for me, I think that'd help cushion the blow to get some of those pictures. But also that man has some big cojones. You can see him if you look at the right angle in some of those pictures. So, but at the same time, the improv stuff, I think if I gotta, actually took the time to prepare things more than just the day before or just even, I don't know. I had some like another idea for, other stand-up improv. I guess improv just because I'm making it up almost damn near on the fly, but, other stand-up ideas. I'll probably do another stand-up, I think, just to test stuff out. Oh, there's my duel.
All right. Smeed, which one would you rather do?
I think the stand-up for sure. I don't have the confidence that Jake does to pull off those looks. It would just look awkward.
And his cojones.
Yeah, I gotta go stand-up.
Yeah, I think I probably would too.
I think it'll be tough for people to say that they'd be willing to do what Jake has done.
Yeah. What Jake has done cannot be repeated.
I don't know if I've ever had my genitals out in public as much as that calendar entails. Or let alone that naked in my backyard with the risk of my neighbors seeing, or that close to a school.
Yeah, those are all really good points.
You
All right, well,
that's amazing.
that is the end of our Would You Rather section.
I love
Returning back to the interview.
Oh my god. Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
All right, Luke. 6 years you've been in the league. It's been a pleasure to have you all 6 years. What is your favorite fantasy football moment?
As much as losing damn near every year is, gotta say 2016 was a nice feeling just because, not in the loser bracket for, I think, the only time. And then otherwise, I'd say definitely the draft weekends. And certainly golf was a good time too, just because I had David to carry me on his coattails the whole time, and we only used about 2 of my strokes the whole time. Promise I've gotten a little better, but nothing guaranteed. But no, definitely the theater room, just all getting together and just hanging out. We have all the ridiculous videos going, and the jokes from those videos are ones that even at my house we just keep randomly bringing up. So it's definitely one of those. It really, what happens at the draft weekend just kind of carries over. Like, sure, some of it stays at the draft weekend just for those people that still have to come out. But, there's a lot that really leaks over and just really keeps a lot of jokes going, like the sour cream glasses, or, use the tissue. So now that we've alienated about a couple of the listeners, yeah, it's definitely just like, just things that we can all kind of keep getting in common. It's just running jokes that we can keep riffing off of together. It's stuff that I really enjoy. It's really puts into perspective, my record's bad, but it's all about the friends you find along the way.
It's all about those memes.
It's it's like Carrie Fisher for the new Star Wars movies. It's all about family. That's what it's really all about. And that's what we are now. Even though I just get abused by Clay every single year. Everyone has an abusive sibling. Clay can be my abusive dad, just like real life.
Well,
yeah, that's a great memory.
We somehow got from what's your favorite fantasy football memory to Clay becoming your abusive dad.
It's like poetry because it rhymes.
It's like poetry.
That's exactly what it is. So, Luke, can we expect some more random remixes and mashups from your playlists during the
Oh,
draft weekend?
absolutely. It might be, you pull up the playlist here quick on my computer. It's okay, it's my work computer, so this will probably come back to bite me, but that's fine.
Oh, no.
But, I've definitely been working on it since the last year. I think oh boy, where were we at last time? This last year. I think I've probably almost doubled the playlist, if not more somehow. So, it might be one of those. I might drop the link into the group chat for those that are at home, not able to make it, just so you can, listen to it, get a vibe of the destruction and psychological torture I'm trying to put out before that never seems to work. But, I'm trying to motivate everybody, so in the worst way possible.
I can always
All
count
right,
on
well,
you to have our
I'm
back.
looking forward to that.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here, like I said, my team is bad, but we're here for a good time.
Well, Luke, you kind of mentioned this, but I do got to know, how has your golf game changed from last year?
Went to the driving range a little earlier this week, going this Friday. Won a couple of weeks ago, where I also rode the coattails of a team to win some money in the tournament. Or at least that one, I did make a pretty big putt at the end. So I'd like to say, I may not be the most useful all the time, but I'm useful at specific times. I just like to be picky about the timing of it is all. So overall, I'd like to say it's increased. Got some new clubs from last year. So as long as we can get some, at least maybe a foot above the grass, that'd be a good time. Just going to keep downplaying myself until I get matched up with maybe somebody better. Otherwise, we're always open for the drinking team.
Well, Luke, we just have one question for you here.
Okay.
So the first year of the league, you had the privilege of knocking me out of the playoffs, and then you became the first victim of Andrew Smead in the championship game.
It's terrifying.
So yeah, you were second place, pretty good for the first year.
Okay.
But since then, you've only made the playoffs one other time, and you have been last place twice. Yeah. So I think you already mentioned it with your team name, but besides getting a better team name, do you have any other plans going forward to better your chances at success?
So I think some of it is certainly team name. The players got to play for an organization that they can get behind. Mighty Beer Achilles, that was a little selfish in terms of, How I Met Your Mother, really thinking that was going to take off. Cincinnati Harambe's took off. Everybody loves working for, a past hero. They want to play for them. And I think the players really showed it that year. That was the other year that we at least got in the playoffs. Didn't make a deep run, but certainly made a run. Yeah, after that was Ezekiel Elliott, based off of his alleged, domestic allegation. And, rebrand to David Johnson raped my mom in about week 12 after I just realized I couldn't score above 100 points for the last 6 weeks of the season. And, rebrand to Frost Tots for Nebraska. And obviously that's like, people are like, what are we doing, man? It's not time for the rebrand that we want. We're just going to wait till all the other college football teams or all the other teams back out, and then we'll say we're definitely going to play so that we can get that championship spot. So I think certainly a lot of it's going to be, team name. A lot of it is also going to be draft position. So I was looking at kind of my setup. Essentially, every time I've had the first pick overall, it's been a pretty bad draft overall. If I have the last pick, like this last year, the 12th, also, not bad, but that's just kind of mid-season flukes and such like that. But I think definitely need a middle of the road pick number. Maybe not 7. 7 wasn't great, but when I had the 4th and the
6?
9th round pick. Maybe 6. That's a good
5?
good average.
5?
5 is a number that is between 4 and 9.
What about 8?
No. 8 made, that makes me a little too loyal to that pick, and I've been too loyal to some picks in the past, like freaking David Johnson, and that's come back to bite me. So I don't know if I can do 8. We're gonna have to watch the gold video a couple times. I'll throw up some gifs in the group chat. Just really kind of gauge the audience and see what's really gonna, truffle people the most.
Practice your Pong skills, because you might be able to influence your draft pick.
It's like ping pong or beverage
no,
pong,
like beer pong
or
water pong, whatever.
or
Not the Atari game.
damn it, I'm also not
Sorry.
great at that. What if, wait, did you say pong or bong? Do we have to
Bong?
rip bongs for our position order?
No, Matt Zabel's not coming. So
Maybe when we have the draft in Colorado, because Lord knows, Matt Zabel in Colorado loves the marijuana. Just absolutely slander him right now.
just real, just chiefing that herb.
Just he's a big fan of the wacky tobacco, the devil's lettuce, the green machine is the danger in between his lungs.
That kind Kush.
He's gonna get lung cancer from cigarettes, marijuana cigarettes.
Luke, it is always a delight talking to you and hearing the thoughts that go through your head. It always brings me joy and puts a smile on my face. It's
been an honor, boys. I'll be fully mentally prepared for the wackadoo and the bababooey of the draft weekend. Lord knows that there will be alcohol intoxication occurring, and when that happens, when the alcohol is flowing, you get bowling for soup.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Luke, it's been a pleasure. Can't wait to see you draft weekend.
Been an honor.
Keep practicing those putts.
I'll practice those putts, and I'll practice the drives, and I'll practice the hits with the pong balls into the golf hole.
Oh, God!
Grrr! I can't.
I just want to ask a few more questions.
I just wanted to keep talking to Luke.
It's a real shame we couldn't. Man.
I am fuming. There is steam coming out of every orifice.
Oh, no. Every orifice?
Every orifice. That is how angry I am that we couldn't keep talking to Luke.
That is terrifying. But yeah, I'm very angry too.
I'm about to blast off, but it also was a blast talking to Luke.
It was, I wish we could have asked some more questions, but it is over, and it was a delight while it was going on.
Well, thank you again to Luke for your time for this interview, our last interview of the preseason here. Shout out to everybody for giving us an opportunity to chat with you and catch up on your life and get your thoughts on fantasy football. We're just about a week away. I'm so excited. James, are you excited?
I am so excited. I wish he was here right now.
You're preaching to me, James. You're preaching to me.
Yeah. I really need to do some more prep. I have no idea who I want to draft. Let me figure that out.
Can I suggest at a lycée?
At a lycée? Oh, man. I'll have to do some research.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Commissioner's Corner. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. Signature sign off.
Wink.
Jermichael, I hope you do your hardest work. I know you will. Follow your dreams, Jermichael. Follow the spiders.
He's tearing up right now. That was so beautiful.
I'm sorry, Jermichael. I didn't mean to make you cry.
Oh no, I think he did try some hot sauce recently.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
that's what it was. Yeah.
He's having an allergic reaction.
Oh no.
Go
Someone.
get the EpiPen.
Oh my God. Are you all right? Are you okay?
You go get help. I think he's unconscious. Sir, may I assist you and give you CPR?
Think you're supposed to do the sternum rub. I know that. You take your knuckles and you rub it on the sternum.
You just punch him in the sternum.